Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Balamau Power here, the golden mic from the north, all the way from Gimwe country, and welcome to Powerverse. You are here in episode 16, all the way live from our new station in Boombaja. Now, for those who have just joined us and you don't know what Powerverse is a program, a podcast that we created where we invite inspirational guests on to speak about everything from business, culture, community, and lifestyle. And today, my guest is a very special brother Sam Carroll. Thank you for coming on the program, brother.
Thanks, brother. It's a pleasure to be here today.
Man, we go way back. But before we get into that, I want to ask if you could introduce yourself properly and your cultural background to our followers out there.
Okay. So, firstly, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners on the land we meet upon here today. Pay my respects to the elders, past, present, and our emerging elders. So I'm Samuel Carroll. I'm a proud Aboriginal Torres Strait Islander man with roots throughout the Torres Strait, connections through to Boygu Island and Darnley Island, as well as roots throughout far north Queensland on my father's side. And on my mother's side, I'm also a proud Wiradjuri man from New South Wales. So, fly that flag, really, really proud.
Deadly brother. And you up here visiting family up in Cairns?
Visiting family, come back up to visit before Christmas here and, see the family and, catch up with a few of the bullers and get out and, get into it before I head back down south and enjoy the Christmas break.
That's it. Now, you and I, we met back, I think, in 2015. I knew you before, but we worked together in 2015. Even with another guy on the show, we kind of all worked together. Well, we all worked together and met properly around that same time when I was doing the Sing Strong theatre show. And that was a really cool experience, man. And you were doing the sound, right?
The sound, that was a privilege to be a part of that. Just to get be on board. Yes. And create something that was really magical and powerful and something that was special inside my heart that to be a part of with yourself and the great minds we had around during that production to create the magic. Too
good. So, take us, brother, back into your you growing up. Take us through your journey coming up.
So I was born in Cairns. Spent most of my life in schooling days down in a place in New South Wales, regional New South Wales called Griffith, Wiradjuri country. Home is that area down there. Also Narendra, which is about an hour away from there. So grew up down there. Went to school. Done a few shifts up and down the coast. Throughout that time, we'd moved back to Cairns, and I'd completed grade 3 here in Cairns at Balaclava School, and that was 1 year, and then moved back down south, we've done my schooling up until grade 10 down there, which is very, very tough. There was not many other black fellows in the school down there, and it was a challenging task. A few of the family members that had come before me at school had those challenges with racism and so on. And grade 10, I was looking at dropping out. Yeah. Mum and Dad decided to go, all right, let's make the move up to Cairns. Was doing well with basketball at the time. Yes. Something the sport that I'd love. Yeah. And then moved up to Cairns and decided to follow through and finished grade 11 and 12. Graduated T-Bay here, Trinity Bay.
Too good.
T-Bay. So and then the journey begun there. Was able to get out and done some performing arts as well after school and done the travelling to find out what's right. Yes. For myself.
Yes. Too good. Bro, can you actually, if you move the mic a bit closer to it?
Yep.
Just, okay, lift it up a bit. Yeah, lift it up. That's cool.
Okay.
Interesting thing when you said, the challenges, like I remember, and this has been for a long time, like, even generations before, the struggles when we're coming into, in the education system up to grade 10. There's always a lot of our mob, find it difficult to move on, and a lot leave school at grade 10. Not because of, most people think it's the academic challenges, but it's more the emotional impacts of everything that you experience. Even growing up in TI, and going through the high school there, when they hit year 10, that was a really serious point for me to think, do I really want to continue on with the schooling? Of course, my mom made me. I had no choice. But 50% usually is the rate to drop out. And, out of the other 15%, there's probably maybe 25% of that is, black fellas.
Yeah.
And it becomes quite this incorporated into a culture more so that it's expected that you only go up to year 10.
That's
I know from your experiences, your generation. What do you think about that?
Yeah, well, acknowledging that the people before us as well have had those challenges, so we're not the only ones, but they're still happening today.
Yes.
For you to be sitting here telling me about it yourself in your schooling, there's a big gap in that generation there, and I've felt it as well. As the next generation coming through, but feel where can we stop that for that next generation and say, look, it's education that we need, and also awareness in our education systems. When I was in my school in New South Wales, my history lesson was there was about 4 pages on the Indigenous history.
Yeah. Wow.
And I'm sitting there learning about the samurais and all these things overseas, like these things here at home, what we need to be learning about. This is the country we live in.
Yeah.
So, let's walk forward together and create get that education and awareness there, hit these issues. But we've got the things in the schools. We had a very good teacher, that was our Koori teacher that was there for us. But it's a challenge. But it's always going to be around. And how can we move forward, as I said.
Absolutely, and that's interesting that you say that you only have, you're going to school only 4 pages on Indigenous culture. Right? I remember I had nothing at the early parts, and then when we came into like my first introduction really to the Black history in Australia was through the song of Uncle Achirosho, Took the Children Away. And that's when I really started diving into it. I mean, going through my senior years, then they started bringing in more of the First Nations culture. But other than that, it wasn't. I was learning stuff about. I was acing history on medieval studies. Yep. Like, medieval, what the hell does that have to do with anything? But anyway, I really just remember that because I was top of the class in history on medieval. But anyway, that's an education system that we all grew up in, and even today I see my siblings go through. Like, I remember when we were doing the stuff on Mabo Day studies, and my younger siblings didn't even know who Mabo was. And that's where, I created the song, because the story needs to be told by our people. But these things you learn as you go along. And education never stops to be in a classroom. It's always something that we travel through.
Yep.
Now, you and I met on the set of, Papa meet on the set of Sing Strong. What brought you into the world of creative arts?
Always loved performing when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Always seeing myself as the next MJ. I love dancing.
Yeah.
Always could bust it out at the family events. We didn't have
the king of pop.
The king of pop, and would always bust all the moves out.
Yeah.
Still today, try and give them a go. But getting into performing was something we could tell our story coming through, and jumping on board. I did some work with another production through sound, and then the opportunity arose with yourself, and grabbed it with both hands, and as I said, was able to be a part of that magical and powerful show.
Too good. No, thank you. I really appreciated that, and because you did the opening Welcome to Country and everything, and that was awesome. And it was in this theatre. It was Coca Arts then, and so you welcome back home. You're back home where it all began. Back
home, and it's very different today, but it's moving with the future, I guess. Moving forward, and it's great to see a lot more of our people here in the building today, smashing it out and getting those opportunities.
Absolutely, and I got to do a big shout out to Boom Baja, the Arts Centre, because they've really been supportive, especially for us Mobile. We work out of here, we operate, we're doing the podcast here, so the Powerverse first episode here, episode 16, so many more to come. And now, speaking of MJ, first, I gotta talk about this before we go along. my introduction really, like, I knew of Michael Jackson's music and everything through my parents, as we all do.
Yeah.
But when we really got into MJ was when I was hanging around Balamak Vidi. Which is uncle to you, yeah?
That's my uncle.
Uncle Mark, yeah. Mark Reed, I remember we went there and there was me, him, Clive Shore, Nicky Sabs, all the boys from Horn Island go to his house and he put on Thriller.
Yep.
I used to watch that so much, man.
The Thriller, yep.
It was so fun. Now, how with the creative arts, you told me you had it took you to other places that you work with Deadly Vibe and all that stuff. So take us through that journey.
Yep. So I got the opportunity. Would have been about 18 years old to go and work with the Deadly Vibe Australia.
Yep.
This is a magazine that I used to read in school when I'd go and escape all the racism that I was copping in school.
Same.
To then go and work for them and do what I love and express my emotions and my culture through performing, and that was with the movement mob style stuff.
Yep.
So being an ambassador for Deadly Vibe, traveling around.
Deadly.
Lovely. We got to bring joy to a lot of the kids' faces and community members.
Yes.
And it's something I'd love to see still happening today, but unfortunately, there's
for the events that happened that made it start, like that the Deadly Vibe Awards was like the pinnacle of as an artist coming out. And I remember the first time I went down to experience, I think it was like 09 or 08 or something, and we were nominated.
Yeah.
Nominated for new indigenous hip hop artists, and it was like we didn't win that year, but just to be there, suit and tie, all that, working in Sydney Opera House, it's like we made it.
Yep.
Island Boy made it down to the big smoke, and the last issue of Deadly Vibe, I got to feature on the cover.
Deadly.
And that was always I remember when I started in my home studio on Horn Island.
Mm-hmm.
I posted up Deadly Vibe magazine covers on my wall.
Yep.
I watched that while I was creating music.
Yep.
So, we were hoping that we were able to take one of those awards home, but unfortunately, through the events that happened, it never continued on.
We'll still make it happen.
Oh yeah, we can still make it happen. But that moving mob style, that was something special. I mean, that was something. We really. I sort of had music for that as well. So that was a deadly journey. And from your experience, what did you? What was the one great takeaway you had with that part of that experience?
I can't pick one.
Okay, tell us the great takeaways.
The great takeaway was being in the presence of other great performers and entertainers.
Yeah.
To learn and observe.
Yep.
And to go, all right, this is the pinnacle where I want to get to one day, as well as giving back to the community.
Too good. Now, the reason why I started this podcast was out of when COVID hit, there was a great great hole left in the communities. This deep, heavy feeling of not hopelessness but depression, and people were looking for. We were seeing saturated with so much heavy information, most of it negative, and we were like, well, we need to create a platform where we're able to bring people on who can share inspirational stories. And you, my brother, are one of those, because I seen you being there on the Sing Strong show, but now you have transitioned and moved into your own journey. And your journey, the reason why you're on here is talking about your new brand, which is just released.
Just released.
And it's a fitting title because it's just released.
Just released, and that's what the approach, what we took towards it. So we want to be just released. Everything we've had to deal with, when you put on our clothing, you just release.
Yeah.
We want you to feel empowered, as well as we want to be able to just release a lot of stuff.
So you have to tell us the story of how this all came about.
Yeah. A tough year in 2020, as everyone found it challenging. So it was all right going, how do you take your skills and what you've learnt and invest in yourself?
Yep.
So clothing, I've always prided myself on the way I dress. So we said, all right, let's start off with that. And so along with the missus, we decided to create Just Release. Got into a bit of a sketch
Yep.
And then got the help of Lee Harris from Ingia Studios.
Yep.
To get a bit of get more creative with it, and then delivering a message behind it. So, Just Release, we aim to create a supportive community around mental health awareness, suicide prevention, and racism.
Yeah.
So they're all issues that are close to my heart, as well as my partners. We're passionate about that, and it's how do we bring that change, and just get everyone to be proud of who they are, no matter if you've dealt with these issues.
Yeah, and it's because it's real in communities, going through those emotional challenges and those barriers. The mental health stuff is very, very big, and I can speak from personal experiences. Like, this is something heavy that we go through, and it's something that's almost. I mean, there's awareness around it, but it feels almost taboo to speak about, especially for males.
Yeah.
And that's the whole thing. Black fellas are supposed to go out and be challenged with what society brings, and then still stand up strong and smile about it. And now you bringing this with that concept, that's empowering and incredible. So when did you guys release?
So in August this year, August 2020 was when we first got established, and it was still building that brand, but it's coming with that message. And as I said, giving back. We've seen too many open caskets in our community, whether it be from suicide or whatever. But we've got to stop that now. How do we get to those issues before they get to there?
Yes.
It's always sometimes too late to ask those questions.
I was super inspired when you sent me the IG message. I'm like, sweet. And when you said you were coming up, I'm like, I gotta get you on the podcast. Gotta get you on the podcast. Now, you told me something really profound that I haven't seen a lot of businesses do. And it's a give back mechanism, especially for this part of the Christmas. Do you want to tell us a bit about that?
So our shirts, we decided to give back. This year been such a crap year for everybody. It's not just ourselves, but we wanted to say, all right, through our clothing, how do we give back? So 50% of our proceeds that were made from the shirts will go towards Christmas hampers this year for 5 families that are in need and unfortunate to have Christmas. So to go and do that, gathering some Christmas stuff to provide and give back was what we will continue to do in any way. So get out there and grab your Just Release shirts.
Where can they get it?
So we're on Facebook at Just Release Clothing. We're also on Instagram at just.released. And also a website, justreleaseclothing.com. And Just Release is spelled JST RLSD. So we've taken the vowels out.
Absolutely. We're going to put it on the links. You'll see it on the links below. You'll see it in the description, so we can link everybody. But that's amazing, man. So what does the future look like?
Endless opportunities. Get out there, get creative, and take what comes.
And you're going to expand the clothing line?
We're going to expand the clothing line, head into shirts, socks, everything. Giving it all a go. At the end of the day, as I said, we want people to feel proud when they put their stuff on. Too good.
Now, we're going to go with this story. Like, there's so much things out of our side. There's so little time, but I'm looking forward to seeing the journey of Just Release, happen. And, there will be a collaboration there with Powerverse in the future. So we're going to look forward to that. Well, there is always, and you've watched this program, right?
Plenty of times,
And you're here on episode 16. So you told me a profound story. And let's go back before actually getting into this. I mean, that transition, you created Just Release, but you were really working full-time in a job. And so you want to tell us that transition and that story?
So working full-time, it was 8 to 5 job. And then as soon as that stopped, my responsibilities there stopped. It went into Just Release and being a father and partner. So work never stops. It was how do we get more? How do we get more? And the ideas just got so crazy in the head. Just creative. But these things can happen if you put your mind to it and knuckle down and get to them. So
Too good.
Working a full-time job. It's as I said. How do you go and take what you've learnt and invest in yourself? Only you know what you've got, your values.
Absolutely. And then you created this brand.
That's it.
Now,
hot.
It is. We're trying to turn up the aircon a little bit and stuff. You've been following us on Patreon, right? So what's your experience of that?
So yeah, big supporter of Patreon.
Absolutely.
Love the platform, what you've created there, and to be a part of it with yourself. That's it. That's what we take out of our brand. We want to bring people on the journey, the same as yourself.
Absolutely.
So, very good platform, and can't wait for big things to get creative and
absolutely
and to be a part of it with Powerverse and Power Tribe.
They're going to see a collaboration just released. So Patreon, you'll see it pop up somewhere down here. Just go follow the link and join us on the journey, man. Patreon Power Tribe, you will see us. We'll bring you live performance, the hybrid performance, new cultural experiences, conversations like this, exclusive podcasts, plus podcasts here on Powerverse. So please do go and support us on Patreon, because those who support us on Patreon, you make this possible. You will make it possible for us to be able to have these conversations. Mm-hmm. Now, brother, you watch the podcast and you know this one's coming. Yeah. Before we wind up, I always ask if there is one key value that you can leave and impart, one jewel that you can give back to anybody who's following us that they may take and apply in life. What would that be for you?
As I said, take what you value yourself and invest in yourself. At the end of the day, it's all about you. Take every day as it comes, and we're always going to be dealt with challenges. But how we acknowledge those struggles and downfalls, get back up and be proud of who you are.
Too good.
That's our saying at Just Release is sometimes we're tested in life, not to show our weaknesses, but to discover our inner strength.
Thank you. Just Release. And once again, you'll see the website link, so please go and support Just Release. Your contribution, 50% from all proceeds from the sales of Just Release clothing will go back into support 5 families with Christmas packages who are in need right now. So we want to support the movement and support the cause. Well, Sam, thank you very much for being on Powerverse. It's great to have you here after been talking on the phone for that long. Yep. We finally made it happen.
And it's not the end.
It's not the end. I'll speak to you when we will be speaking more about all the journeys, and I look forward to seeing you hitting goals.
Thanks, Bala. Pleasure.
Well, there you have it, everybody. Brother Sam Carroll here from Just Released. You've been watching Powerverse. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Like we always do and say, follow us on Patreon. Those guys on Patreon, you guys make this happen. Also, support us on Facebook. Follow us. We want followers to be able to build our Facebook community. Follow us and subscribe to YouTube. We want to build a YouTube community as well. You can also check out our releases on Spotify, but you'll see all that stuff down in the links below. It's been a pleasure, to speak to you again in this episode from Gimwe Country. The Golden Mic from the North, Mao Power signing out, saying stay inspired, stay empowered, stay connected. Until next time, that's all.